We had hit our stride and people were feeling comfortable.
Just as local businesses were starting to rebound, more restrictions, and local comedy clubs are now managing the pressure.
You drain your savings, you use your PPP, you have loans, and you figure it out.
Plus promising to give you results from the comfort of your home in just 30 minutes. New details on the newly FDA-approved at-home COVID test, how much it'll cost, and when you can get one.
Plus, local health departments can't keep up. Thousands exposed to COVID still don't know about it.
You can imagine if you receive 400 cases in a day, you have about 1,200 contacts that you need to touch base with for each one of those cases.
And as we head into the holidays, local health leaders say it's time for you to start contact tracing on your own.
It is a tough time right now. We're almost 24 hours away from at least 15 counties heading into the red zone, which of course means more restrictions.
And while some businesses are working out a plan to rebound, many are worried about how they're going to make ends meet. Comedy clubs among them.
Denver 7's Gary Brode sat down with the owner of Comedy Works as she's forced to take a step back and reevaluate what to do next.
I didn't even think you could get into a fist fight in Canada.
I was able to open with 175. We didn't open until July 25th.
They say the show must go on, but now it can't.
We had hit our stride and people were feeling comfortable. And then this hits.
Wendy Curtis owns Comedy Works, located here in Greenwood Village as well as downtown Denver.
This south location opened 12 years ago this past October, and downtown has been there for 39 years.
Since March, the comedy club owner hasn't had much to laugh about.
It doesn't make it easier when you look at your employees. I've lost many employees.
State restrictions beginning Friday prohibit indoor entertainment and indoor dining. So not only is our comedy club closed, but so is a restaurant located on the floor above.
There's a tremendous amount of sadness, but I know it's going to come back. I know it's going to come back.
When that is, she doesn't know, as her lifelong dream remains in limbo.
It's all I've ever done.
Curtis is burning through her savings to keep the bright lights on.
PPP helped, but PPP was for, 8 weeks. It's been 8 months.
The Comedy Works wall is full of upcoming acts. Some may be canceled. Others already are.
Melissa Villasenor from Saturday Night Live was coming in. And last night I had to, call her agent and go, look, this is the state of our nation right now, and we got to move her.
Through it all, Curtis is determined to keep her business open and give people a reason to laugh once again.
I know that we'll be fine. I know that it's going to be a struggle. I will rebound.
In Greenwood Village, Gary Brode, Denver 7.
And November has officially become the worst month of the pandemic for our country. Record cases, record hospitalizations. And here at home for a week straight, we've added more than 4,000 cases a day. Our statewide total has surpassed 176,000. And hospitalizations are beyond the peak that we saw back in April. Tonight, there are more than 1,500 hospital beds in use. 86% of our ICU beds are in use, and that is the highest since this pandemic began. Meanwhile, the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine trials are showing promising early results, giving us a ray of hope to hold on to during this pandemic. Both are reporting above a 90% efficacy rate. UC Health is helping with the Moderna vaccine trial. 270 Coloradans volunteered to be a part of phase 3 of the trial. 66-year-old retiree Michael Rouse is one of them, and so far he's gotten 2 shots and says afterward he experienced body aches, nausea, and headaches, so he's convinced he received the vaccine and not a placebo. Rouse says he knows there's a deep-rooted mistrust of clinical trials among people of color, so he's hoping his story can make a difference, and he says he's proud to be a part of history.
We have to do something to stop this because it's getting out of control. And like any vaccine, there is going to be some symptoms, some side effects, but we need this vaccine because this pandemic is just getting worse.
Rouse checks in just about once a week and reports whether he's having any symptoms and whether he's had any contact with somebody who's been exposed to COVID. And so far, he says everything's going great and he hopes his experience will help convince others the vaccine is safe when the time comes.
And tonight we're learning more about the FDA-approved rapid at-home testing kit. We know it's going to cost under $50. You will need a prescription. You have to be at least 14 years old. You swab your own nose and then you get results in just 30 minutes. Lucira says a national rollout could happen this spring. We know there have been questions about the reliability of these rapid tests, and we looked into the clinical trial that helped get FDA approval. Results indicated this test was accurate 94% of the time.
Local contact tracers say they can't keep up. There are likely thousands of Coloradans who've been exposed and don't even know it.
And now health leaders are asking you to take matters into your own hands. You do the contact tracing. Here's Denver 7's Addie Guajardo.
Right now, we have around 1,400 contacts of cases waiting to be reached out to.
Christine Billings, the Emergency Preparedness and Response Coordinator for Jefferson County Public Health, says they're only connecting with 25% of case contacts.
We can't make a dent in it.
Jefferson County is one of several health departments that penned a letter to the state on November 5th. Reading in part, cases are increasing at an alarming rate. Contact tracing and investigation capacity is tapped. On Friday, Jefferson County will be among more than a dozen counties to phase into the red zone on the state's COVID-19 dial as cases surge.
When this first started, we were able to investigate everyone within the 24-hour timeline.
That has since changed. Contact tracers are now prioritizing cases based on positive test result dates, cutting back on questions, and asking the public to lend a hand.
If we can tell our cases, hey, reach out to your close contacts, get a hold of them, let them know they've been exposed, let them know that the public health guidance is that they quarantine in place for 14 days.
As Thanksgiving closes in, health officials warn against gatherings. But if you do,
make sure that they are documenting who is there.
Another tool to help aid contact tracing can be enabled on your phone. It's the Colorado Exposure Notifications.
They can send out a ping should they test positive, and you would get that information and know that you need to safely isolate in place.
More than 1 million Coloradans have signed up.
This is a powerful new tool that is already going to start having an impact.
And Governor Jared Polis is hoping to get that number up to 2 million to get the virus under control. Addie Guajardo, Denver 7.
DPS announced today all students will learn remotely after Thanksgiving break. Now, the big change here is that kindergarten, first and second graders will move to remote. They were the only ones still in person as of this week. Governor Polis reminds school leaders that K through 5 can remain in person even if the county is heading into one of these red zones on the state's new dial. Despite that, the districts are sticking with their plan. Jeffco pointed to staffing problems as cases rise. Douglas County already looking ahead to the next semester. And parents are now trying to figure out how to handle the little ones learning from home.
Especially with my younger one, who is the second grader, he hasn't gotten the fundamentals of reading and spelling yet. And he's also actually he has ADHD, and so he can barely sit still. He can't focus.
Also today, New York City announced they are closing down their public school buildings because of the spike in cases there.
Republican Congressman Doug Lamborn is the latest Colorado lawmaker to test positive for coronavirus. We're told he's experiencing mild symptoms and will continue to work from his Colorado Springs home. And State Rep Meg Froelich also announced she tested positive today.
Summit County among the dozen-plus counties moving into that restrictive red zone Friday. And then tonight, questions about what that means for ski areas in that county. Keystone, Breckenridge, and A-Basin are all open. They are all in Summit County. And tonight we got new information from state health leaders about that red zone. Indoor dining we know will be closed, so that's clearly going to be a big impact for the ski towns. Retail will also be impacted. It has capacity limits. Now, we have some good news. On-mountain operations won't be affected, so lifts will still be running. And we did hear from Summit County Public Health this evening. They tell Denver 7 they do have concerns that the influx of skiers could counter their efforts to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 in that county.
Commerce City is the latest to try to find ways to help out restaurants. They're temporarily capping delivery fees on third-party food delivery apps like Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, and Postmates. Fees will temporarily be capped at 15%, just like Aurora, Denver, and Broomfield are doing. And oftentimes, we found the fees are as high as 30%. So this cap will remain in place through March.
A suspected killer could be anywhere in our state tonight. Human remains from 3 people have been found at 2 different properties in Conejos County. That's down there on the New Mexican border. Investigators are still trying to identify those remains. They believe, though, this is a man responsible. He is 26-year-old Andre Jordan Burros, nicknamed Psycho. You can see he has some pretty distinctive face tattoos there. Burros has been arrested in the past for assault and drug charges. Authorities say he should be considered armed and dangerous. Investigators are still searching both those properties, and those remains that have been found may not be identified for months.
A Colorado couple, homeowners, say they were discriminated against during a home appraisal because of the color of their skin.
Because I am a black guy, so obviously you pick the houses from the black side of Park Hill.
Tonight, questions about why two different appraisals for the same house during the same time came back with a difference in value of more than $100,000.
It was just a matter of who answered the door.
Industry insiders are weighing in.
As much as I love real estate, it's probably one of the most covert discriminatory industries out there.
We had 70s again today, but there's rain and snow on the way.